everyone. So I'm back with a collective reading. I've got no idea what this reading is going to be like. I have Hecate here with me. I call her Mother. You're free to call her as you wish, whatever you wish, really. This world is in a turmoil state. You've got to be blind to not think that it is. And I'm entering this reading with this in mind. I am not here to give my personal opinions on things. I'm not here to get political or anything like that. This is a readings channel and I want to give people the best messages I can, the most honest messages I can. But with the state of the world, regardless of where you live in the world, there's plenty of people who are feeling some type of way. I'm just going to relight that candle. I have a fan on because it's a little bit warm in here. Sorry, the microphone may be picking that up. But regardless of where you live in the world, who you vote for, your religion, all that jazz, look, we're all human beings at the end of the day, and I think all of us are feeling it in different ways. And so, Hecate, being who she is, no, she doesn't get political, regardless of what people say. She doesn't. She's a goddess. And she has helped me understand that in life, things happen that are good and bad, such as nature, such as the universe, and that everything that happens is for a reason. Even things we don't like, even things we don't condone or want to happen, they all have a higher purpose. And the state of the world, though I personally don't condone things, of course not, but it all has a higher meaning. And so our gods and goddesses don't get political in that way. They look at a person's true intentions, their true heart, if they do indeed hold empathy, and they will help them on a personal, very, very personal level. So this is not about picking a side, and it's not about Hecate picking sides either. I've just rambled there because I personally am feeling it. You know, if you are psychic on any level, even if you're not psychic, you should be able to understand, have eyes to see. But if you have psychic gifts, then you may be feeling it even more. You may be feeling the angst, the anger, the pain, the frustration, the sadness. It's all coming out. And it's difficult. So my advice on that, before I get into this reading, I know I've rambled, my advice on that would be, indeed, protect yourself. Look back on her reading for September. It talked about protecting yourself before any of this came to a head. You know, there's a girl in Bloomin', wasn't it North Carolina, that just brutally got unalived. And then obviously the shooting of that far right guy. You know, again, it's not about politics and whatever, but those are just two cases that recently happened of many. Look at the state of the world, the warfare going on in certain areas. So many people losing lives, so much sadness, you know. But we do have to protect ourselves, yes. And that would be my advice to you. Protect yourself at this time. Look after you. Look after your well-being, emotionally, psychically, all that jazz. That's my advice, okay? But alright, I've rambled on. I don't normally do that, but that's the energy. It's how I'm feeling. I can't help it. Let's get into this reading. I'm asking Hecate for some advice for us all as the collective. What can we do in this time, okay? It's not about me. It's about all of us, okay? Now, if you are interested in getting a reading from me or supporting me in any way, my links are in the description. I will be naming any decks I use there as well, okay? Okay, so what's the theme of this, Mother? what is the theme of this? Oh goodness, the divine masculine. I said oh goodness because that makes sense. It's the patriarchy in general. Courage, new moon. God, I'm going to cry. I'm trying not to feel so upset. All right. On the bottom, stormy. We'll take that as well, actually. We'll take that as well. Right. Divine masculine, that is the patriarchy. In the Western world, we are ruled by the patriarchy. It's mainly men in charge, regardless of political beliefs, okay? Left, right, anything in between. Very much ruled by the patriarchy and mainstream religion. It is a god in the masculine sense. A lot of conflict around that, a lot of conflict around religious beliefs, really. Religion and politics all feed into one another, and ultimately, that's the world's problems. Courage, yes. Hit the nail on the head there, mother. A lot of people have been suffering for a long time. Whole ass places destroyed. Whole ass everything, families, generations, histories erased. You know, we won't get too much into that, but yes. And even on individual levels, a lot of us, even if we haven't been impacted directly by warfare, I mean, that poor girl I think of that got stabbed, you know, she's fled the Ukraine and that happens, impacted. Brave people having to be strong for one another, not just themselves, but for their community, for their families. New moon. So even if you're not directly impacted by the warfare, she's asking that, well, she's not asking, she's telling us that we must be strong for one another. Compassion goes a long way. And I feel on a personal level, I have noticed that compassion is lacking. Not by everyone, but by a majority. It does appear that way anyways. I'm trying, like I say, not to put my feelings onto this. But we do need to be strong for one another, set examples for one another, be there for one another. Even if it's not in a monetary way, if you can't afford to give money, for example, you can give time, you can give energy, you can be a shoulder for somebody to cry on. Even if you are frightened to speak up, because I know on a personal level I am sometimes frightened to say too much of how I personally feel on my other channel. That's okay. You know, you can be there for people in other ways, you know. A light in the darkness. Stormy. That's why we need the courage, because it is stormy. But the new moon, and that's a symbol of Hecate, the new moon is there. A new moon, if you don't know, is a new beginning. It's a symbol of Hecate because Hecate was historically worshipped upon the new moon, because the new moon's the dark moon and it's when the cycle resets and starts again. So this is a cycle, and perhaps we're coming to a head with it. I feel like in these coming months, being there for one another, showing compassion for one another is the best thing that we can do, and that is what she is telling us to do. There are turbulent times ahead, stormy times ahead, that cannot be wholly changed. We cannot help that, unfortunately. But what we can help is one another. Instead of fighting each other, where possible, other people will disagree, I know, but on a personal level, look, try and put yourself in the other person's shoes. There may be things you don't agree with, what people say or do. But why are they saying it? Why are they doing it? Are they misinformed? Are they pressured? Are they scared to say otherwise? You know, there's a lot of nuances to things. Show a bit of compassion, okay? I think that's what we're lacking. I'm going to pull some oracle cards from this. This is a deck that I put 2 decks together to create a mega deck. But I use this with Hecate. It's in her little bag. It looks like her on that bag. Oh, the black hole's full. Face your inner shadows, deep dive into the unknown, discover your hidden strengths and planetary planetary conjunction. Synchronicities abound, cosmic forces align to create powerful partnerships. I feel like with those two, she is hitting the nail on the head. The black hole is full. That is very much like a lot of the problems in general as a whole is because people are fighting external forces in one way or another, even if it's just debates, even if it's just with each other online. It's one way or another external forces, but you're not looking inside as to actually you don't know everything. You don't have all the right answers yourself. Nobody's 100% correct here. And that's what this is saying. The black hole is full. You are, shoving everything into this external vacuum, and it can only hold so much. You need to do the inner work. And this has been told to me on a personal level before about your inner world reflects your outer world. And if you externalize everything, that's not actually fixing the problem, because a lot of the problem lies within. So if you are insecure and somebody outside of you triggers that insecurity, you can argue with that person, you can get that person to leave, and they may do so. But that doesn't fix your inner insecurity. Somebody else may come along and trigger you. Somebody else may come along and say something that upsets you, and therefore you externalize it again. You get them to go, but the issue still stands. A lot of these issues are internalized issues, and it's very much opposing forces constantly. In the world of politics even, it's opposing forces arguing, protesting against one another. They think they're in the right and the other's in the wrong and all of this. And look, we'll never have world peace. That's not what Hecate is saying here. It's not about world peace, but there comes a certain time where some arguments are null and void. Some arguments are fruitless. She's had me watch things on a personal level to see like how fruitless this can be, even though like everything has a reason is what I'm saying, and I've said that already, and I now understand this thanks to her, that even bad things have reasons. But if you have two opposing forces, both of equal measure, equal passion, equal strength, hitting each other, and they're both unwilling to shift or change or whatever, you're just getting conflict, and that is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. So that is a big generalization, I know, but as a whole, kind of where we're at as human beings. And this is where in the past the cycle, because everything's in cycles, the cycle has happened and then it's blown up in our faces. I mean, we've had things happen in history, just look at history is all I'll say, comes to a head and then it repeats. Now on some level, look, that's us as humans and we can't change that, but to you listening to this, she cares about you enough to say this, that we as individuals can either get involved with these two massive forces on either side, whatever, we can get involved with that fruitless argument, that conflict, or we can take a step back, allow that to be happening and be there for one another instead. And for anyone else who wants to take a step back while that's ongoing, be there for one another. I hope that is making sense. Now I'm trying, as I say, not to get my own stuff in here. When you do a reading, it can't be helped sometimes. As the reader, you are the messenger, you are the medium. That candle will go out. Yeah, it's the fan. But as being as unbiased as possible, she is telling us, and like I said, look back to that reading for this month. We need to be looking after ourselves. Our inner peace reflects our outer world. Remember, our inner world reflects our outer world. So we need to be looking after ourselves. That is not selfish. We can be there for one another. But if we are getting involved with that conflict, that immovable conflict that is above us, then, it's not helping us on a smaller level, on our own personal level. Right, let's do a tarot reading on this. Although there are some fights worth fighting for, not everything is worth being involved with. We've got the King of Teacups reversed, which is King of Cups reversed. We've got the Ace of Pentacles. What she's trying to say is there's more than meets the eye, and I can't say what that is. Temperance reversed. There's corruption on higher levels that are orchestrating things. Puppet masters pulling strings. Six of Cups, playing on emotions, doing it for their own betterment. And it's not just one thing, and it's not just one country in the world either. This is worldwide. This is interpersonal conflicts. This is on smaller scales, pulling on emotions to stir up the immovable force. There's only so much I can say, but this is stuff that doesn't concern us on a personal level. This is somebody's plan. So King of Cups reverse, that is the corrupt man, that insecure emotion. It's that patriarchy, it's the corruption, doing it for their own. Ace of Hedgehogs or Pentacles, for their own gains, selfish gains. It's from an unbalanced perspective, playing upon those emotions, those nostalgia trips, those familiarities. They're playing upon things like religion, family, connection, ancestral lineage, things like this. They're just playing on the human psyche and human emotions, human weaknesses. It's all a master plan. That is the Six of Pentacles reversed. That's selfishness. Yep, Six of Hedgehogs reversed. So I'm thinking of traditional Rider-Waite as well with that. Six of Pentacles is charity. It is giving. It is well-being for others. It's the opposite. There's a big corruption behind this Page of Pentacles. Yes, it's very earthly focused. We've got Eight of Wands, and it's moving faster than you may realise. Three of Cups reversed. These people are not your friends. There are people out there, so it's being put in my mind, I'm going to have to just say it. There are people out there who have the best of intentions, who, see the conflict in the Middle East. I'm being vague with it, okay? And sticking up for those who don't have a voice. And I'm all for that on a personal level. Like, anybody who is the innocent does not deserve what has happened to them. It's beyond words effed up. And the goddesses, Hecate is one, they see that. Divinity sees that. True divinity sees that as a mother. They see that. And rest assured, nobody goes unpunished. That's why we have dark deities out there that punish people. All right? Anyone wicked, it doesn't go unpunished. But with the best will in the world, there are people who have been fighting for these people. It's been co-opted. There's higher things going on, If you can fight the good fight for others, that is the courage here. If you can fight the good fight for others, do it. If you have strength to spare, do it. But she is not judging you if you cannot or if you're afraid to. And that is not to ease your guilt or whatever. It is because these movements, there are people on both sides. This is why I'm not getting political, and this is why deities are not political. There are people on all sides that mean well in their own little ways, but also those that are corrupt. And this is not going to go down very well. I know it's not, and I don't know if I'll lose followers for this. Like I say, I'm trying not to put my my feelings in on this, because it's not, and this is so tough, and I'm feeling it too, guys. I am. But there is more than meets the eye, is what she is saying. Yes, you're well within your rights to feel whatever you feel. Feel it, but don't dwell, okay? Be there for yourself and for those you love and care about the most. Try not to get too sucked into things, because it's not what it seems. Even those who have the best of intentions, the road to hell is paved on good intentions after all. It's not always about that, you know. Stop taking things out on each other, right? And start looking inside. Why do you feel such a way? If you are triggered, why? Start asking yourself why. I don't know if she wants to say anything else here. I will use yet another deck just in case. We'll refresh it up a bit. I feel close to crying here, because I'm a bit anxious myself, you know, to share this. And I just feel pain, emotional pain. Oh, we've got a card in here. 4 Cups reversed. That's the pain. It's the emotional pain. Page of Swords reversed. 2 of Cups. Yeah, that's the emotional pain. We're missing the point with some of these things, and we need to show ourselves and each other love and compassion as best as we are able to. So times like this come together. Yeah, instead of feeling all the pain, instead of dwelling on what we can't have and what has happened that is bad, try and dwell on what we can have, you know. There are other ways you can stand up for what you feel is right. So as an example here, I'm not telling you personally what to do, but she's just putting it in my mind. If you, for example, are feeling some type of way about a conflict somewhere in the world, instead of protesting, it's not to say you shouldn't do that. I'm not putting my opinion on that, and neither is she. If you have that courage, do it. That's what you were saying, you know. But if you feel some sort of way, you could raise money, you could put humanitarian aid in there, you know. I remember when the conflict in Ukraine first kicked off, and I did readings for charity for the Ukrainian Red Cross. That was me personally doing that, you know, to try and help people. So something like that is an example. It's not always about putting yourself in harm's way. The Knights take action, Knight of Wands, and that's your desires, your passions, and your intentions in this case. So whatever your intentions are, whether it is looking even after your community closer to home as well, there's big worldwide problems, yes, but there are still people in need around you. Not just yourself and your family and friends, of course, but what about your local communities? Homeless people, there's always a problem there. What about donating to charity? What about volunteering to something? Building each other up. Ace of Swords, that's the necessary action. Instead of tearing one another down, if you're not in a position where you feel you can stand up for your rights and whatever, you know, think about that, coming together, looking at you and yours. That's what I feel the message is. And you and yours, not just limiting yourself to your family and your friends, but your local community, you know, closer to home. Because I think a lot of people right now are feeling so passionate one way or another, and it's that immovable force again. Instead of getting into arguments, into debates even, put that energy to something more useful. Doesn't mean you have to betray your own morals or whatever, but as a big powerful deity like Hecate, she's seen it all before, right? She's seen the world at war. She's seen corruption, death, all sorts of things. She's seen it all before. And just look at our own history, any point in history, you know, civilizations have rose and fallen. This is to a God another cycle that we are in. How and when will we learn? Will we learn? We are responsible for ourselves and those around us, I suppose, but ultimately ourselves and our own actions and behaviour. And what she is putting in my mind to say is, if you were to look at your life when you are, you know, old and grey, can you honestly say that you were happy with the choices you made? Now, we all make mistakes, okay? But aside from the obvious, you know, we all make mistakes, no one's perfect, but could you say that you were happy with what you did, that you made efforts where you could, that you lived a life fulfilled? I think a lot of people are missing that. We get caught up in this passionate energy, and it's heavy energy as well. It's heavy. It's hard to not get caught up in it. I'm feeling it too. I'm feeling absolutely drained. Past few days, I've really felt it. So have a think on that, okay? And protect yourself in this time. Look back on her reading. It's on the channel for September. Have a look back on it and what she said on there, because it makes sense now. I get why she was saying that. We've got to shield ourselves at this time, okay? I hope this helped. Like I say, I tried not to put any of my potential biases in there. I try and be live and let live as best as I can as a person. That's what she's taught me to be like. But there's only so much you can do, that isn't there? So I just felt like, well, Mother, please give us some advice. To finish off, I'm just going to ask for a couple of cards. A couple being several. We've got the spirit animal. We've got the zodiac twins. I don't know why I said it like that. The zodiac twins. I'm trying to be cheerful. That's why. That's how I cope. Yeah. Solar eclipse. Milky Way's embrace. Solar flare. Okay, we've got a lot of sun energy here. Cosmic pulse. Sun energy. Before I read any of the blurbs, I'm thinking of Sekhmet. Sekhmet, if you look into her, she is a goddess from the Kemetic Egyptian pantheon, and she was born out of rage, and she was born from destruction, and she was sent to destroy us, and she was a inconsumable force, uncontrollable, I don't know what word I'm trying to say there, all-consuming, uncontrollable force, okay? She almost destroyed everything, and she is a solar goddess, daughter of Ra, represented by a lioness. She represents a part of the Creator that is rarely spoken about. You see, if we think of the Creator, the cosmic womb, you know, people think of love and light, life, unconditional love. I've had that said to me quite a few times. The Creator isn't unconditional love. It is more than that, if there is such a thing, because it is life and it is love, but it is also destruction as well. Like the universe, the world we're on, the planet, there can be natural disasters, destruction, and there has to be sometimes to give way for new life. Therefore, is that unconditional love? In a sense, yes, but not in the way that we understand it. And if we understand a goddess, I see Hecate as the creator. And if she is indeed the creator, a goddess is not just a womb. A goddess, a mother, a feminine figure is not just about giving birth. If we as humans are multifaceted beings, so is the source. And there is a side of the source, the god, goddess, whatever the creator, that is destructive. And that is embodied in Sekhmet, that is embodied in Kali and in other stories. Them are the two off the top of my head. But we have spoke about this in history, and it kind of is the feeling we're in right now. A potential for destruction, but one that we can overcome by what? nourishment and care. And that's what she was saying. We can overcome this by care. Okay, so we've got our instincts, nature, personal power, and a balance. Yes, we need both the light and the dark. That's the twins. The solar eclipse is hidden truths, the shadow side emerging. We are all connected, and we need to trust the cosmic web. Yep. Solar flare, burst of insight, illumination, and then feeling the universe's rhythm, timing to guide you. Very much, we are all connected. We are all part of one another, regardless of your political stance, your religious stance, or whatever. We're all united, because even though we've got these inner conflicts on this planet, we're all just on one planet at the end of the day, and we're all in one universe, and that universe is non-bias. So we can either let this destroy us, or we can calm the destruction and learn from this, you know, because the universe isn't taken aside, Hecate isn't taken aside, no, you know, the higher powers. It's very much localized, even though it doesn't feel it to us, and I feel like an asshole saying it, but it's true. To a god, this is like, I don't know, your pets squabbling or something. It's like you've got two dogs fighting. It's what it's like to a god. And that's the thing. Do you let the dogs fight, continue to destroy one another, or do you put them out the misery? You've got to train the dogs. That's the analogy, training the dogs. And that's what she's trying to do, and telling us, look, we need a bit of compassion here. We're all connected. Just show a bit of compassion. That's what we need right now, guys. That's the lesson. Anyways, this was a tough one. I hope the reading helped, though. Thank you so much to Hecate for sharing it too. I needed to hear this as well. Like I say, it's heavy energy right now. Feeling, you can't see me obviously, but I am feeling like teary-eyed here. Yeah, this world is a beautiful world. You know, I'm just looking at the artwork on this. This world is so beautiful, guys. We as beings are so beautiful. Humans are amazing. Humans are amazing creatures, and we don't give ourselves enough credit for that. We are constantly seeing the bad. Let's try look at the good. I feel like that is what she wants to say to people right now. I went into it asking her, and yeah, well, this is the reading. Anyways, it'll all be all okay. It will. Look back to that reading that she gave for this month. Just look after yourselves, guys. I mean it. I say on my other channel then, my videos, stay safe, stay witchy. So I want to say it here, stay safe, stay witchy, because I do mean it. It's a messed up world that we're in right now. So look after yourselves, okay? And take care, all right? Bye.